Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, so you sent over this formidable stack of research,
I did. It's a big topic.
a huge topic,
Okay.
and it's all focused on what the sources call one of the great quiet challenges of aging sarcopenia.
Age-related muscle loss, yeah. And our mission today is to really distill that down.
Right, to get past the common advice, just walk more, and pull out two really powerful, evidence-backed Japanese exercise methods that can actually start to reverse that decline.
It's a crucial deep dive because the stats are, well, they're a little scary. Once you're over 60, you can start losing 3 to 4% of your muscle mass every single year.
And the standard advice, just getting your 10,000 steps, it feels good, but it's not doing the job.
Not for building muscle, no. It's great for your heart, absolutely.
Yeah.
But it simply doesn't create the right kind of stress, the stimulus you need to maintain or build lean muscle.
And that's the core finding, right? If you're just walking along at, say, 40 or 50% of your max effort, your muscles are just coasting.
They're coasting. They aren't stressed enough to trigger that tear and repair cycle. No tear, no growth. You're just slowing the decline, not reversing it.
So the goal here isn't just to find a better exercise.
No, it's about efficiency. We're digging into the sources to find the high-yield moves. You know, the 20% of effort that gets you 80% of the muscle gains.
I love that framing.
Yeah.
Because as we're going to find out later, that's a really important concept.
It's critical because the exercise itself is only part of the solution anyway.
Okay, so let's start with that potent signal. Let's start by, I guess, revolutionizing the most common exercise there is, walking.
This is where we get into the first method. It's called Japanese interval walking, or JIW.
JIW. Okay, let's unpack that. It seems to take the simple act of walking and just injects strategy into it.
That's a perfect way to put it. It uses variation, calculated intensity to create those little muscle micro tears that are the whole point of the exercise.
The ones that tell the body to rebuild bigger and stronger.
Exactly. The technique is all about alternating between periods of really fast, vigorous walking and then slower, comfortable recovery walking.
So what does vigorous mean here? We're not talking about a light jog.
No, not at all. You're pushing to about 70 or 80% of your maximum physical effort. We're talking brisk steps, really pumping your arms. You should feel it.
And the prescribed cycle is pretty specific. It's 3 minutes fast, then 3 minutes slow.
That's the rhythm. And you'd start with a 5-minute warm-up, do maybe 3 to 5 of those cycles when you're starting out for about 20 to 30 minutes total, and then finish with a cool down.
How does someone really know they're hitting that 70 to 80% mark, though, without, a fancy heart rate monitor?
That's a great question. The researchers describe it as being slightly out of breath. You should find it difficult, but not impossible to talk.
Okay.
If you could hold a full conversation, you're going too slow. If you can only gasp out 1 or 2 words, that's the sweet spot. You have to feel that burn, especially in your quads and calves.
So that burn is the signal. That's your body flipping the switch on what the sources call muscle protein synthesis.
Precisely. That's your body's repair and build factory, getting the work order. Normal, slow walking. It just doesn't send the work order. These high-intensity bursts do.
And the efficiency is just, it's wild. You're talking 20 or 30 minutes instead of an hour or more trying to hit a step count.
And the results are dramatic. The studies on JIW showed seniors increase their muscle mass by 10 to 15% in just 5 months.
Wow.
And the control groups doing regular walking, almost zero gain. Plus, the JIW group saw a 13% increase in thigh muscle strength and, this is huge, a 30% reduction in their risk of falling.
That fall reduction part is so key. It's not just about being stronger, it's about reaction time.
It's about proprioception, your body's sense of where it is in space. If you trip, stronger muscles can fire faster to catch you. It's the difference between a stumble and a hip fracture.
Which all started, I guess, from researchers just observing seniors in Japan.
Yeah, in the early 2000s. They noticed people living in hilly areas naturally varied their walking intensity, and they had incredible longevity. JIW it formalized that.
It makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
But the sources are clear that even JIW isn't quite enough for the deepest muscle stimulus.
Right. It's amazing, but it's still relatively low resistance. To really maximize that growth signal, you have to combine it with the second exercise, Reiho training.
This is where we move into pure resistance training. Just using your own body weight.
Exactly. Reiho is all about maximizing something called time under tension, keeping the muscle loaded and working for as long as possible through every single rep.
And Reiho training is essentially a slow sit-to-stand movement. The name itself, respectful movement, is fascinating.
The respectful part is all about control. It's about eliminating momentum, eliminating any bouncing or jerking. That control forces the muscle fibers to do all the work.
Okay, let's get into the mechanics because everything I read said the execution here is, well, it's everything.
The tempo is absolutely critical. You need a sturdy chair, no arms, preferably against a wall for safety. And the movement has to be almost painfully slow.
How slow are we talking?
You take a full 5 to 7 seconds to stand up, and then, and this is the most important part, another 5 to 7 seconds to lower yourself back down, resisting gravity the whole way.
I actually tried doing 1 Reto rep after reading this,
Okay.
and 5 seconds on the way down. It feels like an eternity. That struggle is the point, isn't it?
That struggle is everything. That downward movement is called the eccentric phase. And what's amazing is that your muscles can handle about 30% more load when they're lengthening going down than when they're contracting or pushing up.
So by slowing that descent, you're basically overloading the muscle fibers.
You're creating much deeper, more significant micro tears than you ever could on the way up. That's the secret sauce for growth.
And this directly targets the quads, glutes, hamstrings, all the muscles that get hit hardest by sarcopenia.
Yeah.
But what about someone with, say, bad knees?
That's a valid concern. The best way to start is with a higher chair, or you could stack some firm cushions on the seat. That reduces the range of motion.
So you build up to it.
Exactly. And because it's so slow, there's zero impact on the joints. It's actually designed to strengthen all the supporting structures around the joint.
And the results from the studies are, again, pretty shocking.
They're about tangible growth. The research showed doing just 10 to 15 of these slow reps, just 3 times a week, can increase leg muscle mass by up to 20% in 6 months.
20%.
Participants gained, on average, 1.2 kilograms. That's over 2.5 pounds of lean muscle just in their legs, and their fall risk dropped by 40%.
It's hard to argue with that kind of return on investment.
You really can't.
Okay, so we have JIW for efficient cardio and base strength. We have RIHO for that deep fiber growth. But all these gains are for nothing if you're also doing things that are actively, damaging your body.
Exactly. We have to pivot now to the danger zone, because knowing what to avoid is just as important.
The sources call out 2 big ones. The first is high-impact cardio, so things like high-speed running on a treadmill or jump rope.
It's a classic case of confusing, feeling exhausted with being effective.
Yeah.
By age 60, our joint cartilage is just thinner. It's a fact of life.
And when you do those high-impact moves,
Your joints are absorbing a shock that's equal to 3 or 4 times your body weight with every single step, every
you
jump.
can just picture the damage.
It accelerates the breakdown of that cartilage, it inflames arthritis, and for all that pain, you get zero muscle-building stimulus. The data showed seniors doing high-impact cardio had no muscle gain over 6 months, but a 45% higher rate of joint injuries.
You're paying a huge price for literally no benefit against sarcopenia.
A huge price.
Okay, the second danger zone exercise is a bit more surprising. Deep forward bends or toe touches, especially with bouncing.
This is a silent risk for the spine. Think of your spinal discs as little jelly donuts between your vertebrae. As we age, they dry out a bit, they lose their cushion.
See, hydrated discs, that's a very clear image.
Right. So when you do a deep, rounded back bend, especially if your hamstrings are tight, which makes your lower back do all the work, and you start bouncing,
You're just asking for trouble.
you're putting enormous, uneven pressure on those fragile discs. It's a direct path to a disc bulge or even a herniation.
The data on that was alarming too.
It was. Seniors performing those kinds of ballistic stretches had a 58% higher rate of spinal disc problems, and a third of them had acute back injuries that needed medical attention.
So we've covered the best moves and the worst moves, the 20%. Which brings us back to the biggest piece of the puzzle you mentioned at the start.
Right. If you connect all the dots, the sources all point to the 80-20 rule. Sarcopenia isn't just an exercise problem. Muscle building is 80% what you eat and only 20% the exercises you do.
This is a total game changer. You could do JIW and RIHO perfectly, but if you ignore the 80%, you're basically spinning your wheels.
You are. The exercise creates the micro tears. It sends the signal to the factory. But the factory needs raw materials to rebuild, and that raw material is protein.
No fuel, no repair.
Exactly. Without enough quality protein, that 20%, all that hard work is wasted. The body just can't repair, recover, and grow those muscle fibers effectively.
So this deep dive really laid out the roadmap for that 20%. Swap out regular walking for JIW. Add in RIHO training 3 times a week. And stop the high-impact stuff and the risky bending.
And that brings us to the final thought, the question for you to consider. The evidence is overwhelming that you can reverse sarcopenia, that you can regain significant muscle even in your 70s and 80s. So the key variable isn't age.
It's consistency.
It's consistency with the right stimulus, JIW and REHO, combined with the right fuel. So the real question is, are you treating that 80%, your nutrition, with the same focus and precision as the 20% exercise routine we just outlined? Because that is the true determinant of your success.